Welcome again, everybody, to the world of the unknown, where only the bravest souls may enter. Are you part of those people itching to figure out the truth that no one talks about in this world? Hello, Boris, and hello, Florida. Today is the day when we will talk about what shouldn't be talked about. Are you ready, everybody? Today... No? You're not ready, Florida. Well, I guess stream's over. Florida's too scared to go into the world of Team Fortress 2 Creepypasta. Now, before we start all this, let me be real here. When I started this idea, I thought to myself, oh yeah, TF2 Creepypasta. There's gonna be like, I don't know, 2, 3 TF2 Creepypastas. There's like a bajillion of them. I've currently got like 6 of them opened up on my laptop just to read them out loud to you guys, but it's fucking ridiculous how many there are. Well, anyway, I hope you guys are ready to indulge into this world of terror and horror and spooks together with me, as we are going to read Team Fortress 2 Creepypastas. Now the first one for today is Team Fortress 2 Play Dead. I'd like to share an experience I had with a game of Team Fortress 2. It was about 9 PM on a Monday, I think 2 weeks ago, and I had decided to play a multiplayer match of Team Fortress 2. I signed on and stayed up the automatic server selection for my play modes. I felt like playing Capture the Flag, so I selected that option. My computer lagged a bit while I was searching for a server, which isn't abnormal for me as my laptop is fairly distant from my router. But eventually, it found one. I've only been playing Team Fortress 2 since a little after it became free, so I don't have a very big server history, nor experience with the server mods or servers altogether. But something seemed rather odd about this particular server. Once I gained access to the server and the loading screen came up, with the bar on the bottom right, as the bar got to about 70%, it jittered backwards and paused. I started going back and forth between 45 and 60%. The game froze after a few moments and I decided to force quit the game. I went to get something to eat and came back to the game, started it up, and decided to play from my server history. I noticed a new server added to the list, TF Play Dead 905, or something like that, I don't remember. After the events I'm about to explain, the server disappeared from my list, so I'm going on plain memory here. I tried the server and similar to before, the load bar jittered a bit. However, it managed to complete this time. Usually when you enter a custom server, there will be some sort of splash page to welcome you to the server and advertise their site or briefly explain the rules. In the case of this server, the entire splash page was only black. Shit, I lost myself. Sorry. Oh yeah. The entire splash page was black. Sorry, I was checking the chat there. There was nothing on it. I started to think something was wrong with my graphics card. All the strange things that were happening, but decided to continue on. The game loaded. I selected Pyro as my class and entered 2 for it. This is unbelievably loud here, I apologize. For those of you who have never played Team Fortress 2, here is a brief explanation. It's a team-based online multiplayer first-person shooter game. And in this particular Capture the Flag mode, map 2 forward, you have two fairly large mills separated by a little lagoon on a bridge, and an underground network of pipes that you can enter. The objective is to, obviously, capture the opponent's flag and return it to your base. For this server, there were 2 teams of 6. Upon my joining, both teams became full. The game was already mid-progress, and everything was working normally. Our team, Blue, had already scored 1 point, and we needed 2 more to win the game. The red team had 0 points. This particular game didn't have a time limit, and we seemed to be going back and forth for about 14 minutes, with little to no progress. Occasionally, members of our team would type angry messages to the opposing team, accusing them of being cheap by having like 4 engineers in their flag room with turrets. Not sentries, mind you, but turrets. Alright. Shit, I lost myself again. I should just read this instead of making commentary. My god. Making it almost impossible to get their flag and making the game seem endless. Up until now, things have been relatively normal. Until I started noticing that for about 5 minutes, I've been going around the level and have not seen a single one of my team members, nor any other players for the other team. People are still talking. However, it kinda took a while for it to sink in that I haven't seen anyone at all for over 5 minutes. I thought that I had to be some sort of lag problem, so I asked the other players if they were having the same issue, and the general response was, nope. But other player said they haven't seen me for a bit either. Oh. About 6 more minutes passed and I started to grow pretty bored. I decided to make one more round throughout the level before I would find another server. I left our fort and fell into the lagoon in the middle and proceeded to enter the red team's pipe network. After the little room underground in the middle of the tunnel, there's a really long pipe that leads to a staircase going up into the base at the end. I noticed an enemy scout was standing there, but he wasn't moving. Just standing there with his bat out and staring at me. A strange form of relief swept over me that the game started to work again. And I charged at him, began to shoot at him with my flare gun, but the shots went right through him. And when I approached, he disappeared completely. Really bad lag, I thought to myself. I ascended the staircase, and I entered the base. A strange static sound started to replace the other game sounds. I made my way throughout their base, and as I got closer to the flag room, the static got louder and louder until I couldn't hear anything else in the game at all. This is when things started to get really weird. I asked if anyone else heard the static, and I did not receive any reply. No one had said a word since I saw the enemy scout in the pipe tunnel. I managed to get to the room adjacent to the flag room, with 2 halls going into it, and I could hear some sort of murmuring behind the static. As I went down one of the halls and turned the corner, I noticed that there was no flag room. It was plain black, like the hole leaded into the game's void, where all the textures and lighting were reduced to 100% black. And I shot a couple of times and my bullets landed as if there were walls there, so I entered the room anyway. I saw the flag, then I picked it up. And when I turned around to leave, there were no halls. Everything was black. The UI was still up, and the screen, it said I had their flag. But there was nothing to the level, and all traces of the level disappeared. I tried again to get an answer after explaining my problem, and To my surprise, there was still no response. I stood in the room, or lack thereof, for about 3 minutes, until suddenly the game froze, and the game ended. But the message didn't say that anyone won or lost. The announcer's voice was all distorted. The scoreboard was broken. The loading screen quickly came up and it said, "Downloading Playdead 0090. Or something along that line. I can't remember, I apologize. It took about 17 minutes to download. It was a really big file. When it was finished, the black server screen came up again. I went through the screens and selected Spy. The level loaded to something completely indescribable. I tried to save a screenshot, but every picture I tried to get said error, and print screen didn't work. For some reason, I can't explain that one. The level looked rather black and white and very glitchy. The textures on the walls were kinda like 8-bit blocks, but really distorted. It was almost like playing a 3D version of a static snow screen on TV. I ran through the level and asked everyone, "What is this map?" But there was no response again. I checked the player list and, other than my name, everyone else was listed as "I am dead 1", "I am dead 2", and "I am dead 3". ETC, of course. The rest was none. Just like that, too. I've never encountered anything like this before, other than some prank games people made for fun and hacks, along the lines of Majora's Mask 1. Sorry. But this online game with, and I had, though, secure servers. I decided to give it a few more minutes and explore the level, which was a really large maze of very oddly shaped tunnels. Also, there were no sound effects whatsoever. Nothing I did caused the sounds. Eventually, I came to a really long tunnel with what I imagined was the middle of the level. The tunnel had darkness at the end of it, seemed almost endless, and I was walking for at least a minute in one direction with no change to the map. So I decided to turn around and go back, thinking the map is glitched. And the moment I turned my camera around, I saw the enemy scout I saw earlier. Except something was very wrong with it. His eyes were black, his left arm was rather deformed and bent to impossible directions, and his legs reminded me of a crab, almost like a spy crab. I almost jumped out of my seat at the sight of that and typed, "What the fuck is going on?" in chat. Hurried to the chat log, but there was no response. I stood there and stared down the strange scout. After several moments, the other quote-unquote players started talking, but all that appeared was corrupted garbage text. The scout quickly approached me in a sudden, though regular fashion, and I heard a very, very loud burst of static. And all of a sudden, it kicked me out of the server. I went to check the server and it was gone from my history. Well, naturally, I immediately shut off the game and played it since then. And haven't played it since then. I think it was some sort of prank, but it was pretty creepy. And the game hacks don't usually creep me out like that. After that, on July 13th, 2011, we did get an update. After posting this, I decided to play the game again. I went into my server history to find a King of the Hill map, but I noticed that TF Playdead 905 was back. But this time, it had 0 out of 16 players. I guess it's because of the gunmetal update. I went into the server and, unlike before, it loaded normally without any issues. It was 2-fort, like when I entered it before. But there were no other players in the server. Nothing seemed really out of place. I walked around the map for a while, finding nothing out of the usual. The only thing I noticed that was strange was that I would hear the sound effect glitch out every now and then. When selecting a character, there was a static noise that kept repeating. When I went to the tunnel area, I thought I heard footsteps. I shut the game down a few minutes later, and I'll try again after sometime. Maybe I will even be able to get some footage. Written by Blue Falcon. Wow, everybody, that was a creepy story. What do you guys think? Plot twist, they were friendlies. Yeah, right. Welcome to the stream, by the way. Bolted Enfield. Spoopy. Hey there, Flamsy. How are you? How did you guys enjoy the first creepypasta we're starting it all off with tonight? Let me stop the creepy music for a second at least. How'd you guys enjoy that one? What do you guys think? What's your score of this one? I'm listening to TF2 Scout voice actor all-star song like right now. Spy crab. Whoa. You're out of popcorn. Shit. Then you better resupply quickly. We will jump right into the next creepypasta real quickly. But man, oh man, I got so spooked I'm sweating, everybody. I got so spooked that I can feel sweat. Oh boy. The light. So before we continue on, what did you guys think about us? What did you guys think? It was nice. It wasn't that bad. I hope the rest isn't gonna be that bad. There were a few grammatical issues which made it more difficult to read, but besides that, it's all fine. I also have the minus that I didn't read these things beforehand, so I'm sorry. But yeah, I do hope that the next one's gonna be good too. The next one is simply called Spy, Team Fortress 2 Creepypasta. So, hope you guys will enjoy that too. 10 out of 10, no hoovies. Well, maybe the next one doesn't have any hoovies, but we do have a spy. So let's get back into the creepy mood, everybody. And start this beautiful creepypasta reading. Alright. So. I'm not sure if I should or shouldn't tell you this story. Chances are nobody will believe me, as I no longer have any proof. But I feel for the safety of others, I have to talk about the spy and why you should be as afraid of him as I am. And this story takes place on October 27th, 2012, a few days before Halloween. I was looking forward to hanging out with my friends and do our annual movie night. On this night, though, I chose to stay home and play Team Fortress 2 instead. My favorite class was the Spy, of course, challenging but rewarding. It was so addicting to play. I even had the outfit for cosplay at my local game and anime conventions, as well as butterfly knife, so I could learn how to flip and do tricks just like the Spy does. As you can tell, I'm a freaking nerd, but proud of it. Gaming is a passion for me, and Team Fortress 2 was easily one of my favorite games. During this time, the Halloween event for the game was going on, and I was trying to get the achievements and special items that were available that year for all the players. So I was playing Sniper with the Huntsman, primarily so I could kill Marasmus when he showed up quicker than with any other class. Everything seemed fine, until I was killed by a spy. The kill cam came up, and it was someone named Spy, with no hats or unlocks of any kind. Well, that's embarrassing, I thought to myself, being killed by a free-to-play. And here I thought I was so good at the class. And I ended up being killed by a new player. Jeez. At least I figured he was a new player, considering his loadout was, well, just the stock. Oh well. I went about my business and continued to play. I was in the middle of finding Marasmus, and was killed by Spy again. What happened to the friendly time? Isn't there like a friendly time where you can't kill each other when there's Marasmus out? Is that just a new thing? I don't know. Let's get back into the story. It was odd because I thought I was doing well to prevent him from backstabbing me. Clearly, he wasn't a new player. He was smart about avoiding until I was completely distracted. So I figured, why not play Spy as well? I could counter-spy him. That'd be pretty fun. It'd be fun to play against someone who obviously knew what he was doing, so I went Spy and played as normal. I went about stabbing and shooting people, trying to find him so I could go toe-to-toe with him in a spy duel. but I could never find him, so I went about going after his team instead. Just before killing an enemy medic, I was killed yet again. Same player. This guy is good, I thought. His timing was perfect. I decided to check the scoreboard to see how many points he had, but there wasn't anyone named Spy. I was a little disappointed. I figured he left the server and decided to go ahead and go back to trying to get the achievements again. When I was backstabbed by who else? Spy. And to add insult to injury, there was a message in chat that said, "You are an amateur and a fool." I was a little bit antagonized. I could never seem to find this guy before he killed me, and I would keep seeing the same thing every time when the camera zoomed in. A spy with a stock loadout and a smile on his face. Yeah, a smile. Like he was grinning at the fact that he killed me. I decided to go just quit and come back later, but I was a little agitated. Not at the fact that he kept killing me, but the fact that I tried to look for him. Even checked the scoreboard for his name and there was nothing. Who the heck just leaves for a brief moment, then comes back to kill someone? I admit it worked. But how would they know I was looking at that particular point in time? Just didn't make any sense to me. I joined a non-Halloween server deciding to play Badwater, one of my favorite maps for Spy. I was having fun up until I was killed by a spy. And it was him. Again. Same look and name. Only he seemed different somehow. The texture was changed a bit. His suit looked darkened due to aging, and his face looked pale. And the same thing kept happening, and I would try to look for him, and would still end up being killed. And, like the other servers, I didn't see him at the scoreboard. He ended up dominating me, and I saw a message in the chat again. "I'm going to cut you like a Cornish game hen." A little disturbed, I asked my teammates if they saw this guy, or if he was killing anyone. They all said these spies aren't that good and weren't having any problems. I asked them, what about Spy? And they said they weren't being killed by anyone that with a name like that. While I was typing into the message, I was killed by Spy yet again, and asked if anyone saw him. I saw this reply. "Do you have a bind or something? It keeps saying you killed yourself." I stopped. I must be losing my mind. So there's a player that only I can see, who I know is killing me, but nobody else is seeing him in-game. Or his messages in chat. And to everyone else, it looks like I'm suiciding. This is crazy. How does any of this make any sense? I said to myself. Then saw another message in chat. "May I make a suggestion?" Run. Then my game froze briefly, and it said I was disconnected from the server. A little creeped out, I decided to go join another server. The map was upward. We were still at the first point. I picked Soldier and started moving out of the spawn. I checked around the spawn door. Nothing, so I started heading to the front line. Checking my back once. Nothing. Moving a little further, I checked it again. Still nothing. I decided to rocket jump the rest of the way and looked back behind me as I was jumping. I saw him standing, still as I flying in midair, only for a brief moment, then cloaked and disappeared. I decided to hell with this and went back to find him. I searched above, in the tunnels, and the edge of the cliff. Nowhere to be found. So I started moving towards the front of the line again. To check my back every so often. He wasn't stabbing me this time. I would check my back every so often and see him just standing there, looking at me, before cloaking and running away. I would chase him, but I figured it was pointless. I'd never find him. It was like chasing a ghost. No matter what I did, I would never catch him before he killed me. He was toying with me. He knew I couldn't do anything to stop him. Eventually, I gave up looking for him. And tried to have some fun, blasting people with my rocket launcher and blowing up. I was having a good time for a while. Then, as I was pushing the cart, I was backstabbed again. And this time, I was legitimately freaked out. I saw him again, but this time, he was zombified. His suit was torn and raggedy, with dried blood on it. His right arm and leg had its bones showing, and the knee and elbow. And the baklava was now over a skull, with flesh. The flesh was gone. It shouldn't have scared me this much, since it was part of the Halloween event, but after everything that happened before, I was scared and decided that that's by. I left the server and decided to check my recent players list. Surely there was something there. Every player has a Steam profile, right? I looked at the list and there was his name. Just Spy. And the avatar was the spy himself. A close-up of the face with a twisted, evil grin that went from ear to ear. And his eyes, they had a tint of red in his pupils, almost demonic. I checked the player profile page and the image was still there. That evil smile looking at the right at me. He had no location, headline or player introduction. His page was almost entirely blank. I looked at his Team Fortress 2 stats and he had a total of 44,204 hours logged in game. No fucking way. I looked at his player stats. All of his hours were with Spy. And he had over 1 million points. And his longest lived match is his playtime. Meaning that this player, whoever or whatever it had died, it did the math. And he had been playing since October 10th, 2007. The day the game was released. I went back to his profile page and the headline has changed. I see you. I was freaking out. I know that wasn't there a few moments ago. All of a sudden, I heard that as loud noise coming from my speakers, like a siren. Like a blue screen came up. Realizing that my computer just crashed, I rebooted it back up and got to the login. Typed my password and was greeted with nothing on my desktop. Nothing. No shortcuts, background, nothing at all. Explorer was still working and I could still navigate the taskbar, but a small amount of static could be heard from my speakers. I figured then I must have gone to some kind of fake Steam site and downloaded a virus, and decided to do a quick scan of my computer. I have a Vast, I'm quite safe with that. I, for whatever reason, lost my connection, so decided to reconnect. I updated my antivirus and malware software and began scanning. Also started up Steam and was getting ready to send a ticket to Steam support. Whoever this bastard was, I was going to report him. This was more than just some typical hacker or something. It was like I was being stalked. I checked my recent players list. His name was still there. I clicked on his name and got a 404 error, saying the page did not exist. I refreshed it as many times as I could, but the result was the same. I closed Google Chrome and decided to check the scan. Suddenly, every program I had open crashed. My taskbar disappeared and the static increased in volume. Then, the black background changed into a horrific image and I will never be able to forget. The image of the spy grinning ear to ear appeared again, but worse, the spy was now a decayed corpse. You could clearly see where his flesh used to be, and his smile was showing. With some teeth missing, the right side of the face was blown out, like he just took a shotgun blast to the face. But he had bits of his eyeball where it used to be, while the left eye stared directly at me. It was yellow with some small red cracks on it, similarly to how yours would look if you went a long period of time without sleeping. And while this image was stuck on my screen, I hear one of the spy's voice lines booming from my speakers. "I'm coming for you!" Then I hear him laughing, normally at first, then increasing in volume, and slowly becoming more and more distorted and twisted. Looping over and over, created an echo in my room. My ears were ringing, and it kept getting louder and louder. I covered my ears, but still it was cutting through, piercing my eardrums. I reached for the power cable and pulled it out, shutting my computer off instantly. I've reformatted my computer since then. I had no choice. After that incident, my computer wouldn't get past the Windows startup screen. I had to reset my computer to factory settings to get it to work again. Since then, my computer had been running fine, and I've been able to play other games. I told my friends and family that my computer crashed and I had to reset it, but I never told them about what I saw that night. They would never understand. Team Fortress 2 is obviously on my Steam account, but until now, I haven't installed it. I'm downloading as I type this, and I hope that by sharing this, you'll be able to play it again without shaking. I miss the game, but I can't get rid of this fear I have of the spy haunting me in my real life. I've been having nightmares since then, and I always play out the same way. I come at night and I'm trying to unlock my door, feel a knife being pulled deep in my back, being pushed down, ripping through my spine, and the spy decaying hand over my mouth, and his eye looking directly into mine, laughing as I bleed to death. And every time I wake up, sweating, with my butterfly knife in my bed. Now boys, oh boys, that was a story, and well, ever since the person has never posted an update, but bam! Jesus Christ. So what do you guys think of this one? What do you guys rate this? On this spooky horror? I honestly have to say that I preferred the previous one more. 5 out of 10, no baguette stuck in Dolpher's ass. Jesus Christ, spooks, come on. We're playing a real horror, we're reading real horror stories now, come on. What the hell happened here? I'll get to the next one really soon. I just want to get into, you know, the next scary location in this place. A large switch appeared in front of me. Oh no, the darkness. This is a pretty nice place for the continuation. The cables are all over the place. So what do you guys think? You guys think this was a good creepypasta or a meh creepypasta? What do you think? There we go. My chat didn't update for some reason. That's actually spooky. My chat didn't update. It's really weird. Decidar accumulum un creepypasta. I don't know what you're saying, Albert, but hey, welcome. I heard this story, so I give it a 0 out of 10. Where's the sandwich? I don't know. There was no sandwich in the story. Maybe the next one though, because the next story is appropriately titled Team Fortress 2 Death Sponsor. I don't know what this is supposed to be about, but I bet it's gonna be a creepy story, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the reading. I'll never forgive you. Never. This is the last thing I heard before she left. You wanna know who she is? She is a game. My favorite game, to be precise. It was Team Fortress 2. And I can tell you my story. On a normal day, Friday the 13th to be exact. Yeah, totally normal day, dude. Totally no fucking symbolism there. I'm sorry. A Steam user called Red Angel Darkness 666 invited me to be his Steam friend. I thought nothing bad would happen when I accepted the request, because I like to get friends. 5 seconds after, I accepted the request, and she wrote me a message. "Hello, are you looking for an adventure?" it asked. I answered, "No, not today." But before I could answer, it had sent me a link to a page with a simple URL address. www.teamfortress2devsponsor.com/mod/speak. I answered, "What does this link do?" I know this is something to do with Team Fortress 2, but after sending that message, I didn't know what happened, but I heard a very loud, pitched up scream. I heard the scream 3 times, and it always said, "Just go to this link." I wasn't so sure if I'd like to go on to this link, but I just clicked on it. Immediately after I clicked on it, I downloaded a WinRAR file called Sounds. "Now I have this WinRAR file, what should I do with it?" I wrote. "Go to this folder path. Now," it sent. So I did what it told me, because I was a dumb 10-year-old, not thinking of anything bad happening, and started Team Fortress 2. I wanted to know what to do now, but Red Angel Darkness 666 wasn't in my friends list anymore. I searched for him or her or whatever, but never could find it again. So I started a Team Fortress 2 match in the classic version of Cough Nucleus. And so something has changed. Always those goddamn Steam updates! The game was almost over because the opposing team was almost taking the checkpoint. Normally the announcer said, "The enemy team is near the last checkpoint," or "Protect the last checkpoint." But no, there was nothing, just silence. I spawned as a spy and heard a loud scream that's almost as bad as Slenderman's. The scream was almost as bad as Slenderman's. I apologize, but I can't read this seriously. Sorry. It destroyed my headset. It was so loud. When I heard the voice of a little girl, what she said was, "You finally found me. I always wanted to take up contact with you. Please help me. People say I'm crazy." Why would anyone say that? I asked, not expecting an answer, but she answered, "I don't know. Maybe because I killed a lot of people." "What the?" I replied back. Suddenly, my character went up in flames. Luckily, I had taken out my dead ringer. Buy one now from the Mango store, so I wouldn't die so easily. Then a box appeared which said, "You have lost connection to the server." So I searched for a new server, but I only found one. TF2 is usually strong that it can accommodate up to 2,000 servers. Up to 2,000 servers! Buy it now! Sorry. The map of the server was CP DevSponsor. The server's name was "Come here, I want you." So I joined. There's only server left, and I was scared, really scared. I spawned as a spy, and I couldn't even choose a character. But then I heard the voice of this little girl again. "Hello, and thank you for coming back. Why are you there? Who are you? Why can you hear you understand me?" I asked.
Well, everyone calls me she, but I don't know my real name. You wanna know how I can hear you? Well, she answered. How? I asked again. Let's say it's like this. You downloaded me, and I can control everything on your computer now. Should I install the hack, eh? Well, then I'm gonna uninstall you. No, no, no! You can't do that. You won't be able to. Don't forget that I'm in control of your PC now.
I closed TF2, started Avira free antivirus, and it removed her from the computer. 5 seconds before I deinstalled her, I heard,
I'll never forgive you. Never!
Then I heard a really loud cry, which made me so scared that I was hospitalized for 2 weeks. After this event happened, I barely even played TF2. Even now, I see a server with the name Come Here, I Want You, or Team Fortress 2 DS. Wow, you can play Team Fortress 2 on the DS now! Man, that's great. That's gonna be a future Nightfall episode, I swear. I get really scared and paranoid. And that's why I play Dota. Wow. What do you guys think? Was that a good one? 10 out of 10. Nightfall, you're crazy. Thank you. That girl gonna seduce you. Just the name Papa Beyblade is spooky. Welcome back to Papa Beyblade's Spooky Creepypasta Corner, where tonight we're gonna read creepypastas. So how good do you think was that creepypasta? Oh no, the door opened. Now this is our new safe place. Now we're gonna read the creepypasta from this corner. Cause why not? Rip headphone users. I apologize. Alright, the next one we have is Team Fortress 2 Creepypasta Story, The Pyro. And this one, interestingly, has actually been posted on the Steam community, and not like, you know, the other ones on some weird creepypasta pages. So who knows, maybe it's true. Maybe it's a real story. It's not too long, but I hope you guys will enjoy it. Music still playing? Yep, still got the creepy music going. Can't play this game without it. Of course, now my game doesn't want to open up again. Got creepy shits going on already. Okay, let's start. Team Fortress 2 Creepypasta Story, The Pyro. It was late night when I was getting home from a friend's house. It was around 9:37 p.m. when I got home. That's quite approximate. Once I got home, I lied down and fell asleep for the night. The next morning, I ate breakfast and played some Team Fortress 2, like always. I picked the Spy and the Pyro together at the same time, my two favorite classes. I went into a trade server and dominated 4 people on the server. I already love our protagonist. They all left, raging into their mics, calling me a hacker. But when I was playing a spy, the Pyro came out of nowhere and burned me to death. After a while, he dominated me. I finally got revenge on him and backstabbed the Pyro. When I did, he didn't die though. The entire server glitched and everyone just froze. Pyro, still in the same place, stabbed him and turned his head around an entire 180 degrees. His body was still facing forward. This freaked me out. I had tried to talk in the chat, but my messages were not showing. The Pyro spoke with his mic and said in a deep demonic voice, "You better make sure your cloak works." And then started to laugh at the exact same time as the Pyro's laughing taunt. Ha 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 ha! pausing the game and pressing disconnect, I stopped playing the game. Easy win! Haunted game, just stop playing. This guy's a fucking genius. Later that night, I had my first nightmare in 5 years. I was playing the trade server when the exact thing happened to me again. But this time, he said something different in his mic. That gamer is a spy. In his deep demonic voice. Then, his flamethrower went through my screen and started burning me while laughing in his pyro laughing loud voice. I quickly woke up to the sound of my alarm, breathing heavy and sweating. I get up and eat. That day, when I went on TF2, I found an item. It was for the pyro. It was something I've never seen before. It was the rain blower, but different. It was the pyro's head hanging from the bottom, like the Man vs. Machine heads that hang from the bottom of your gun. So I equipped it and went into the trade server again to show everyone my cool weapon. And whenever a player looked at my character, he got set on fire, then left the game saying, Joe Banana 3000 left the game. Great name. Fucking Joe Banana 3000. That's gonna be my name from now on. He messed up. I was scared. Not knowing what doom I lost control of my keyboard. My players started moving and killing everyone whether they looked at me. I tried to leave the game, but whenever I pressed disconnect, the chat said, No need to be scared, Robert. Everything is according to plan. At this point, I screamed. After that, my computer shut down on its own. From that moment on, I've never played Team Fortress 2 ever again. I play Dota now. But I had the same dream. Burning to death by the pyro while he laughs a demonic laugh. Hey guys, I just wanted to post this for fun. I hope you enjoyed it. What are the comments on here? I didn't. Not enough hyper-realistic blood. Really good, I love it. Can you make more, please? Should be on Trollpasta. Couldn't agree more. And what do you guys think? Was that a good one? 6 out of 9. There's no grill in the comic. Oh hi, I didn't see the stream. Don't worry, Jack. You can always rewatch the previous stories. We still got a bunch to go, so no worries, my friend. We still got a bunch of creepy shit to read. Joe Banana 3000. This is better than Sonic the Punstep. It is. Alright, so yeah, welcome everyone to the stream. I hope you're enjoying yourself. What we're doing tonight is reading a bunch of TF2 creepypastas, because there's apparently a shit ton of them. The next one I hope is going to appeal to the most of you guys. It's titled Extreme Team Fortress 2 Gore. I do hope you guys are gonna like this. Just by the way, if you guys have any TF2 creepypastas that I'm not reading now and want me to read, you could send them to me. That'll make things easier, because right now I only have 2 more left until I'll have to look for them. So if you guys can send me some you want me to read, then that'd be perfect. You can even send me a non-TF2 one if you want, but not too many of those. It's a TF2 stream after all. Okay, so I hope you guys are sitting comfy in your chairs, clench your butts, get some popcorn, and put those headphones on, because this is gonna be some hyper-realistic shit. Okay. Extreme Team Fortress 2 Gore. Not long ago, one day, I wanted to play Team Fortress 2 Death Run, a Team Fortress 2 mod in which the red team are the runners, the blue team are the activators, and he didn't put a dot there. Okay, that's a great start. The red team must go through a map without dying to the traps. So I searched up the internet section of finding a game directory. To my surprise, nothing appeared, so I checked to see if there was a Death Run server that was on my history. To my surprise, there was a server called TF2 Extreme Gore 666. Of course, you gotta have that 666. I thought it was strange because I had the number 666, which is the devil's number. Whoa, foreshadowing! Sorry. I clicked to connect like you do on multiplayer games to go on a server. Except when I got to the class selection screen, I noticed something strange about the characters. Their eyes were not in their eye sockets. There where usually are is just plain black. Under them is a long stream of blood. I chose a scout, but then I noticed the spawn room is covered with a lot of realistic blood. I ran to the bridge and got shocked as I saw there was a dead engineer hanging off the roof of the bridge of TF2 fort. It had no eyes and mouth, just a nose on its face. Blood covers where the eyes and mouth are. I got super freaked out and excited. Out of Team Fortress 2. It took about 6 days to recover from the traumatizing experience. When I went back to Team Fortress 2 to notice the server vanished from my history, I knew that could be a glitch, so I refreshed the server browser. Sure enough, it appeared again, with the same words as before. TF2, Extreme Gore 666. I selected it again and connected to it. The class selection got more creepier and the class characters went from missing eyes to zombie looking like characters with blood and organs all over them. Like before, I spawned as a scout. This time the whole map was covered with corpses of every class. Organs ripped out, eyeballs popped out of their eye sockets. Then a message appeared in the chat box saying, "I don't want you here. I know this creeped you out." I replied to it saying, "I know." I was randomly banned from the server then, and I put it on my blacklisted servers. It took about 2 weeks to recover from that. Jesus Christ, dude. 2 weeks to recover from a goddamn spooky message. I still thought about every single creepy thing about it there. That engineers everything. All of it creeped me out, in which I told Valve about it. Valve removed the server from Team Fortress 2. One of the things I remember from the experience is that the classic word from a classic horror movie was the map. In the spawn room of the blue team, there was the word red rum, possibly a reference to the 1980s horror movie The Shining. Fucking god. It spells murder backwards. Oh, ooh. Nani? I've seen the movie and I knew it was murder backwards. Ah, okay, you're gonna just explain it then. Then a message written in blood randomly popped up on one of the walls saying, "Get out now." Then perhaps a very scary picture of an unmasked zombie pyro eating the organs of a scout had popped out. But what's the gender though? Is it female or is it male? Come on, that's the biggest question we all have in here, right? Not just me. That was when I got super freaked out and excited. Well, you have a really fucked up boner. Exited the server. Jesus Christ. And then later, the game. Since everything that was in text started to say, "Red rum, Satan is your lord, God is dead, Satan lives." Then I uninstalled TF2 and then reinstalled it. Everything was back to normal. The creepy text was gone and I finally found a Def Run server and joined it. Still to this day, that server haunts me. The night after everything was back to normal, every time I went to sleep, I had terrible nightmares of this stuff in there. The worst nightmare of them all was when I woke up in a cold bed. The dead engineer with only a nose on his face appeared, and other characters also came to him. They only have one nose on their face too. They only have noses. Oh, alright. Then they got closer and started to eat my flesh with their nose, because that's the only thing they had. Come on, what? As I screamed in horror, they ate more of it until I was dead. I woke up screaming after that. I realized it was just a nightmare. Oh really? You realized you weren't eaten just now? And it did not happen for real. Jesus Christ. I had a real fear of Team Fortress 2 after that, thinking that the server is gonna come back and have even more creepy and disturbing stuff. It did. And I have no fucking idea who this is by. I have no idea who wrote this creepypasta. Unfortunately, again, no authors written here. I hope you like this one though. You're gonna have to leave soon. That's too bad, Henry. It's nice you're here though. Am I the only one who sees that he wrote subscribe wrong? Someone found the Easter egg finally. Wait, what mods are you using on Gmod, like the weapons? I can put them in the Discord later, in the like mods section, if you want. So will we play? Not today, dude. Today is a creepypasta reading session. Unfortunately, I'm gonna leave. Well, that's too bad. Top 10 scary anime movies. Well, I hope you enjoyed it though, Henry. Maybe you still got time for the last one though. We still got Death's Ring creepypasta, and after that, just a bunch of others we can find. You know, together. It's gonna be a group effort, so you guys better go on finding some cool creepypastas for Papa Beyblade to read to all of your kiddos. Will we play or not? Nah, dude, no. This is a creepypasta reading stream. Alright, so let's read one more, and after that we'll do some creepypastas you guys will send in. Because, you know, it's Halloween. I'm a day late for Halloween events, but I was sick yesterday, unfortunately. Hope it's no problem, though. Happy Halloween, by the way. Happy late Halloween. So, Death's Ring creepypasta. It was any normal afternoon. I really love Team Fortress 2. I've put in a good 1,000 hours. Wow, fucking noob. Get on my level. I'm sorry. So I decided to load it up. I had heard of a new patch and wanted to see what was added. As soon as I got on, I got a notification. It told me I had obtained one new item. I then clicked it, so I decided to load it up. I had heard of a new patch and wanted to Jesus. It was a dead ringer with a purple text. I thought it was unusual, and then looked at the actual image for the dead ringer. The first thing I noticed was that the gold was rusted. Next, I saw that the dead ringer was strangely opened instead of closed. I looked inside to see the blue lines were red. Ooh. Yeah, that's that. You gotta put that on the community market, dude. The class image was far more background. The class image was far more background was an unsettling black. The spy's eyes were sunken and had glowing red pupils. He only seemed to be laughing. I decided that this must be Valve playing a joke. After all, it was near time for a Halloween update. I then looked at the server list and see none of my friends were playing on servers. I decided to see if other servers were up and saw a list containing 4 servers, each with a glitch number. The server names read, in order, Conquest, War, Famine, and Death. I felt something jump out of the back of my mind, but I decided to play it again. I equipped the new Dead Ringer and selected the Conquest server. When I joined, the map was Fort, not TF2 Fort, not 2 Fort, but just Fort. I decided this was strange and exited the spawn room. I then was met with a weird sight. There were multiple soldiers all gathering around the blue fort. I felt thankful for choosing red. However, it was what they were doing that caught me off guard. They gathered around groups of scouts who were huddled in the corner, crying. I could see the tears flowing from their eyes, with unnaturally realistic sounds and screams. Something was wrong. I then looked up at the blue fort, and it was on fire. I could see the burning carcasses of multiple classes, and could almost smell the burning in real life. I was starting to get creeped out and was considering leaving the server. However, just before I could, I saw a soldier turn to face me, and he had a demonic smile smile with a Y, by the way, and glowing red eyes. He laughed as his face began melting to reveal a skull. I was then kicked from the server. I clutched my chest. That had been the weirdest in-game experience I have ever encountered. So I glanced at the server list to see Conquest has no longer existed. I wanted to quit, but all my buttons except Join Server had disappeared. The unusual class displayed on the main menu was replaced with a skeleton. The background music was also changed, and I could hear what I thought was the calm playing in reverse. I was forced to select War. I was met with the loading screen, which also had skeletons instead of classes. It was downloading a new map, which had the name BTTD Hiroshima. I thought hard about what this meant. Hiroshima was a city taken out in World War II. I tried to think of what BTTD might stand for. It kept coming back to me as Battle to the Death. Interesting. I was in-game again and selected a map had some very realistic textures. Hyper-realistic textures! It looked like a real city. I kept trying to remember what was so important about Hiroshima. Anyways, I decided to finally leave the spawn room. I stuck to the center of the map where the town square appeared to be, and was horrified by the realism and gore I saw there. This looked like something Left 4 Dead 2 was capable of. Hyper-realistic graphics like Left 4 Dead 2. We just hit fucking gold. Oh, I apologize. Heavy's missing the top half of their head. Scout's missing their legs and bleeding out of the ground. ETC. I hadn't heard a whistling noise and looked up. Then I finally remembered what happened to Hiroshima. An atomic bomb was being dropped on the map. As if in instinct, I pulled out a dead ringer, still rusted and such, and I watched a horrifyingly realistic atomic explosion from up close. As the dust cleared, I was glad that my character was still alive. I was horrified by the twisted piles of flesh and bone that had become the other players. I was then kicked from the server. Only famine and death were left. I was still trying to figure out why the name seemed to have some meaning. Of course, like before, I could only join the servers. Okay. I joined the server, and of course was met with another loading screen. The map name was glitched, however. The screen then froze. I was used to lag, so I waited then. I heard a voice behind me. Do you ever feel life in a game? What would happen if you're lost? I turned around to see no one behind me. I clutched my chest. If I wasn't frightened before, I was horrified now. I turned back to the screen to see the map was loaded. I joined the game and I picked Spy again. All of these creepy stories with spies, Jesus. I woke out of spawn to see a barren wasteland, no control point. No intelligence, not even an enemy base, not even a conga line. Just endless desert. I turned around to see I had just come out of a rundown red 2-Fort building. I turned my character back around to see a soldier laying in the dirt, crying. I moved over to him, and he muttered about how they had stolen the food. I looked closer to his uniform, was torn and such, and I could see his ribcage under his skin. I then looked towards him again to see He was now staring at me. Even for a video game, I could see that he had the look of hunger in his eyes. He then launched at me, and I was once again kicked from the server. I wanted to desperately leave, to end the game, but God, fuck, I'm too stupid to just turn the computer off. But I couldn't. Something moved my arm over to the last server. Death. Unlike the others, the player number wasn't glitched. It read 1 out of 2 players. I, against my will, joined that server. The map was Cough Viaduct Event. Finally, something normal, I thought to myself. I heard a panicking voice coming from over the mic. Hello? Is this an actual person? Please! Dear God, be a real person! I felt sorry for the kid. I felt he had gone through what I had just gone through. I tapped V and replied, yes, I'm real. What's going on here? Before I could get a response, a demonic voice was heard in-game saying, 60 seconds before sudden death. I heard the panicking voice again. Dad, it wants us to fight. It wants me to kill you, or for you to kill me. The Dead Ringers must fight, the voice told me. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I walked out of spawn to find another spy standing in front of me with a sad expression on his face. It was the other player. He pulled out an enforcer, and I could see the character model mouth. I'm sorry. The S-gun fired at my character, and I took 30 damage. I then felt a sudden pain in my arm. I looked to see blood coming from under my shirt sleeve. I decided I would evade him till the round ended. I didn't want to kill the kid, but I didn't want to die either. We ran around the map with him shooting at me and me running for dear life. I looked at him at the time, which now read 5 seconds left. And I laughed to myself. Glad there was only 5 seconds left before we would finally escape this nightmare. How I was wrong. Instead of ending the round, a notification appeared on the side, in all caps. Death has come. I could hear the other players freaking out as a 3rd degree flew out of nowhere, instantly decapitating him. I was met with a hooded figure, slightly taller than the spy, which said one word. You've lost. 2 weeks later, the body of a local TF2 addict was found in his bedroom. He had a bullet hole going through his arm, but no bullet was found. The cause of death is unknown. And how we were even able to tell this whole story, we have no clue. Oh boy. What would you look at that? We're at a Creepypastas. How'd you like this one? Vietnam flashback. I know, right? Nightfall just broke. Please let me join you. You're playing Gmod. Yes, dude. That's not TF2. Why is this a TF2 stream then? Sorry for being mean. Cause it's TF2 Creepypastas. That's why. There's no flashlight in TF2. Here at least we can have some cool environments to look at. Nightfall, I want to join you. I'm bored. Sorry, dude. But I will have to commend Nightfall for how well he reads them. Ah, thank you. Bravo, sir, bravo. Thank you, everybody. Do you guys have any creepypastas for TF2 you want me to read? Because I only prepared 6. I expected this to, I don't know. I didn't expect to run out before an hour and a half. Do you guys have any creepypastas you want me to read? Also, don't forget to subscribe for more. I friended you. Can you accept? Yeah, sure, dude. Let me just check my list. And bada boom, bada bam. We're no friends. I got a bunch of Steam messages. This shit is spooky. Buck was messaging me. May I join? We're not playing, guys. This is just for the atmosphere. We're not actually playing anything. We're just reading creepypastas. Fanfictions are really scary, except a few of them. The Scout one was pretty fun. I believe that was the best one tonight. Let me try to find another creepypasta to read. Unless you guys got something good for me to read too. Is there like a creepypasta section on the wiki? Search for Team Fortress 2. That shouldn't be too difficult. TF2. Memoirs of a Cam Girl. There's a bunch. The Fred House. Oh, that sounds great. Alright, I got a good one. I got a good one. Read the Penis Cupcake creepypasta. What is that? Can I join to give your viewers visuals? I know my visuals are pretty bland, but I thought I would like play the game, like ooh, spooky, and read, but then like right before I hit record I was like, oh shit, I can't do that. Sure dude. If you can somehow join, then no prob. It's not like a normal server though. It's like it's just a game I started. Nothing special here. Please, at least when you finish, can we please play TF2? It's my only day out when I have school. Fine, okay. We can play some. No worries. We'll just read like creepypasta or two, and then we can, I don't know, maybe do a bit of TF2 just for you, Jack, and you know Spooks, because Spooks is also bored to shit. You guys want visuals to look at? Here, how do I play this? Sorry for the sudden white light out of nowhere. Spawnables. Team Fortress 2. We got stuff to look at now. Okay, now that's some good visuals. That's real creepypasta material now. You're on single player, I know. I know. Don't worry, I managed, you can tell. Actually, wait, I think we can use a few more. Actually, now it's a bit. Yeah, we need some more. We need robots too. Yeah, totally. Shit. Get your crotch out of here. Okay. Now this is visuals. That's some good visuals for creepypastas. Just that spy is creepy. I know, right? Okay. Stop looking at me. Alright. Let's go. The Freud House is the next one. The Freud House. So you want to know why I'm here? I'm sure you've seen those pictures on Facebook of some creepy house in black and white, and then a giant white texture text under it saying, "Would you spend a night here for $1 million?" Well, something quite similar happened to me last winter, and to be honest, I'm still freaked out by it. Because I still have absolutely no fucking idea what the hell actually went down at that place. Oh yeah, there's the TF2 creepypasta. I was worried for a sec. Just to get something straight, I'll have to change up a lot of the names and locations in my story, so I'm sorry if you can't go look for the locations on these events or get into contact with any of these people involved. Just don't be surprised if you can't find the Freud House anywhere in Wisconsin. I didn't actually get an invite. It was my brother Marcus who told me about it. Apparently he had been at a frat party in Vermont, which is where he went to school, where some guy asked him if he knew about the Freud house. Marcus described the guy as looking like one of those socially awkward white kids that you see sitting alone at lunch in high school. He had a slight squeak in his voice and awkward limp in his right leg. He was wearing a Slipknot t-shirt and blue jeans ripped at his knees. Long dark hair oozed from the pores of his scalp and scrumbled together to create one giant mop of his head. Marcus only went to the party in the first place because his friend Arthur had some friends there, so he didn't really know anybody. After hanging with Marcus for a few hours, Arthur ditched to go out with a friend and a couple of girls, leaving Marcus alone at the party with a bunch of people he didn't know. He said it was at this point he finally realized that the people at this party were not your traditional frat bros. They all seemed a little bit sketchy, like a big group of misfits. Marcus was on his way out when the squeaky metalhead kid stopped him. It turns out the kid was a huge fan of TF2, which Marcus was as well, so they naturally bonded and had a discussion. At some point the conversation switched up to talking about creepy places, and the kid mentioned the Freud house. He said that the Freud house was owned by some Union general in the Civil War named Melville Freud and had recent major inheritance from the grandfather, which he used to build the house. It was a massive mansion that could be compared to a castle. There was the courtyard entrance, the parlor, the dining area, the kitchen, the rec room, the gardens, the tower, the bedrooms. The only problem was the Melville lived alone. He was an extremely wealthy man, so he never found it hard to pick up a mistress or two. Somewhere in the mid-19th century, Melville found Elvira Compton, a young teenage girl in Chicago he liked, so naturally he talked himself up and convinced her to come see his mansion. She thought it was so beautiful she mentioned that it would be nice to live here, so Melville convinced her to come and stay for a week. Without her father knowing, of course. While at his house, he became very protective of keeping her there and wouldn't let her leave, even to go buy food. After the week was up, he sweet-talked her into staying longer. He did this on and on before finally he decided he would never let her leave. He kept her prisoner there, and he raped her into having 2 children, whom he also kept prisoner. When the war broke out, he left and told her if he returned and she was gone, he would find her and kill her entire family. She stayed in fear of him coming home. She stayed in the mansion alone with the children, the older of which at this point was 3 and the younger was 1. The older child was a boy named Mark, and the younger was a girl named Mabel. Every now and then some young school children would wander into the property and hear Elvira singing. They would see her in the window wearing a dark green dress, looking emotionless, and she sang cold tunes of sorrow. She became a legend to the children of the area, the ghost girl in the green dress that lived in the Freud house. Elvira eventually lost her mind as the war dragged on. She would scream at any children she saw to "Get away! He might come back to see you here!" Finally, one night, she lost it. She took Mark and Mabel to the gardens. There, she placed the young children to the fountain and drowned them. Afterwards, she climbed to the top of the tallest tower and plunged to her death. She landed on the garden fence, which she was impaled on through her eyes and mouth. Children rarely ever come up into the property anymore, and when they did, they saw the dead residents, for the gardens were the opposite side of the house, not on the front where they could see. When summertime came around, one of the children noticed the property smelled funny and went to the townsfolk. A group of men, including Elvira's father, marched down the mansion to find the horrific sight. Freud came back. He found out what happened and retired into the parlor of his home. There he sat up straight, placed the barrel of his shotgun to his mouth and pulled the trigger. His brains found themselves all over his self-portrait on the wall. Pretty fucked up story, right? Marcus thought so too. He asked the guy where the house was and he said it was somewhere in the southwest Wisconsin. After a while, Marcus went home realizing he and the guy never exchanged names. 2 weeks later, he got the mail. Marcus was scared shitless. He called me immediately and told me the whole story. I told him he should come over, so he did. I go to school in New York, so it wasn't an extremely long ride for him. We met up and went to Noodles for lunch. "Ethan, man," he said, "I'm telling you, this is really fucked up. I didn't even tell the guy my name." Even for a normal college student, Marcus looked very stressed out. "Look," I said, "show me the email first, then we'll talk." So he opened his laptop and went to his inbox. He had 53 unread emails. It seemed he must have been too scared to check his email again. The email about Freud House looked like this. Subject: invite to Freud House. "Hey Marcus, it's Benny here. I just wanted to invite you to come and spend the night at the haunted Freud House at address given. Everyone who participates wins a free $6,000 check. I heard you might be interested, so I thought I'd shoot you an invite. Please email me back for more details. Thanks, sincerely, Benny." "This is so weird," Marcus said. "I asked Arthur about the party, but he said the only people he knew at the party he left with. I don't know about this man." "Well," I said, $6,000 is a lot of easy cash." He sat up in a chair with a look of major surprise on his face. "Ethan, you're not telling me I should reply to this guy?" I shrugged. "Why the hell not? It's in all likelihood a scam, so why don't we just play with it a little, see how far it actually goes?" "You have got to be kidding me." "Look, Marcus, you just got an invite to the house which, by coincidence, is the same house you heard about on that party. This email says if you participate, you get $6,000. That sounds like a pretty good deal to me. We just stay a night at a haunted house. How bad can it really be? It sounds like there will be other people there too, so what's the worry?" "We? Even don't tell me you want to get in on this. What the hell, be serious, man. This is scaring the shit out of me." "Don't worry about it, Marcus. We'll be fine. Lighten up, man. It's probably just a scam, don't worry about it. Forward me the email and I'll respond to it first. How about that?" Reluctantly, Marcus gave in and forwarded the email. Unfortunately, Marcus had finals that next week, so he could not spend the night. He went back to Vermont, and I remember I was missing my literature class at the time. That night, after doing my homework, I read into that email again and prepared a response. It went like this. "Hey Benny, I heard you're looking for interested people to spend the night at a haunted house in Wisconsin for some cash. Well, I'm very interested and I would like to know how I could get invited. Thanks. Sincerely, Ethan Swanson." I decided to refrain from telling him I was related to Marcus, even though he probably would recognize the last name. After sending the email, I prepared to start studying for my psychology exam, but I almost immediately got a reply. It kind of caught me off guard. It seemed Big Ben was just waiting for me to send him an email. Anyway, his reply looked like this. "Hey there, Ethan. I'm very glad you're interested in staying at the Freud House. I can actually just add your name to our list if you would like to be invited. The house is located at, address here. The date of our event is Saturday, January 10th, 2015. And yes, all participants get $6,000 cash for spending the night.
Please let me know if you would like to be added to the list. Thank you, sincerely, Benny.
I didn't know what to do. I thought about calling Marcus, but I knew it would not be a while before I got a hold of him, and I was too excited to wait that long. Besides, Benny didn't even mention Marcus's name. So I immediately clicked the reply button. Hey Benny, I just would like to let you know that I'd like to be added to the list for an invite. Thank you. Sincerely, Ethan Swanson. And again, without fail, I got an immediate response. You're added. See you there, Ethan. So long. Sincerely, Benny. P.S. Please get your brother to reply to us. We'd love to have him too. I was a little ashamed. He had known I was Marcus' brother. Well, there's nothing I could do now. I'd just have to show up at the house over winter break. And I got an even more malicious idea. I was not exactly proud of it. I called Marcus and asked him to come with me. He was real calm and collective about it. Ethan, for fuck's sake, I'm not going to that goddamn house! Ah, come on, Marcus, I've already got myself into it. And... I've already gotten myself into this, and you're already into it. He even asked me to get you, to come with. Please, man, don't make me go alone. You shouldn't be going at all. I don't know why you would even told this guy you would go. Come on, man, we get $6,000 for it. Don't abandon me, man. Let's just go. It's probably just a... No, we're not going. See you Christmas. So after that, we dropped it for the last couple of weeks of the semester. I had finals, so I stopped worrying about the Freud house until finally winter break came and I went home. Marcus had finished his semester 3 days before me, so he got home first. So when I arrived, he was already there. At my arrival, my parents were happy to see me, and there were hugs and kisses to go around. Marcus looked at me strangely, though. I began to think maybe this whole Freud house thing was affecting him more than I originally thought. Jesus Christ, this is a fucking long creepypasta. Jesus. Whew, what does this have to do with TF2? I googled TF2 in this thing, and they mentioned it once. And apparently it popped up. Well, we're already like halfway through, so let's just finish it. That's at least got a good story, you know? Jesus Christ. After we had a big arrival dinner, Marcus and I were finally alone and we discussed my plans. I was going to tell Mom and Dad that I was going to go on a campus trip to Glacier National Park on the weekend on the January 10th. I had been there previously and had some pictures left over, so I could use those in case they would ever ask me. Marcus still objected to me going, but he let me go nevertheless. I packed the usual things you would find a camper's backpack: a sleeping bag, a pillow, some clothes, a flashlight, phone, laptop, chargers, toothbrush. You get the idea. Marcus wanted me to bring his knife just for safety. I told him he was crazy, but I put it in my pocket to make him feel better. Saturday, January 10th, 2015 had arrived, and I was off. I packed my stuff into my truck and headed into the road. My parents' house is in Illinois, so driving to Wisconsin was no road trip. The trip lasted only a few hours. When I got to Letterville, I immediately seemed sketchy as hell. The elementary school had a giant graffiti picture of a dog and a girl having sex on it. And the church had the cross broken off on the top. There weren't any people walking on the sideways, no children playing in the streets, and if it weren't for all those other cars, the whole place seemed like a ghost town. My GPS couldn't find the address, so when I stopped for gas, I went inside to ask the guy for directions. When I asked, he looked at me funny. "Freckleberry Street? Where the hell's that?" he said. I got an invitation to I stopped myself. To something. And the address said it was Freckleberry Street, Letterville, Wisconsin. Look, pal, I don't know of no Freckleberry Street around here. I gave up on him. I decided I didn't want to deal with this guy, so I left. I thought it was a little sketchy that he hadn't heard of the street before. I drove the area of town for about 15 minutes before I finally saw a sign in the town park. At the edge of the park, there was a long line of trees and scrubs with a gate to its entrance. Next to the gate was a sign that said, "Freud House, all uninvited stay out." All uninvited stay out, huh? Well, at least I was invited. I drove through the gate onto a long driveway, which I assume is Freckleberry Street. There seemed to be trees on all sides of us, like a massive living, breathing forest. As it went on, the driveway got narrower and narrower until finally I was just driving in the woods. The drive up to the house took much longer than I had anticipated, which again seemed a bit sketchy. Finally, I reached the house. It was massive. The woods opened up to a large area where what appeared to be a fortress stood before me. There was a large, pointy fence leading to another gate in the foreground. I drove up to the gate, which was made of two gargoyles breathing fire at each other. I know, real classy. And I got out of the car, walked onto the gate, and looked into the courtyard. A massive marble path led the way to the giant doors of the house. As well as carved into the sides, in the middle, there was a statue of old Freud himself, in the uniform of his horse with a sword drawn. Not a single other person was in sight. I tried the gate, but it was locked up tight with a chain around the keyhole. Devastated, I walked back to the car to begin the journey home. It was then that Kyle and Jenny arrived. A silver Buick drove up the driveway and parked next to my truck. A man and a woman got out. The man was tall and bulked, with dark jet black hair and poorly grown beard. The girl was small and stout, almost his opposite. She had luscious red curls and an everlasting smile stuck to her face. "Hi friend, are you Big Ben?" the man asked me. Big Ben? Yeah, the one who sent me the invite. No, I tried to remember what my name was. Ethan! I remembered. The man held out his hand and shook it. "Well, we're glad to meet you, Ethan. My name's Carl Duncan, and this is my fiancée, Jenny Livingstone." "Hi!" Jenny waved to us. So I assume you two are here for the same reason I am?" I asked. "Well," Carl started, "I got an email from a guy named Big Ben saying that if we spend the night here, we get $6,000. I was kind of put off, so I decided to bring Jenny along." So how do we get in?" Jenny quickly interrupted. Then I said, "I wouldn't assume that since the gate is locked, we need someone with a key." "I haven't seen anybody else around here," Kyle said. "Neither have I replied. So we decided to wait for a while. We gave it some time for people to arrive, and they did. 3 more participants drove up for the house over the course of the next 2 hours. An awkward-looking guy named Thomas, a pretty girl named Kira, and her friend Ellie. An Irish psychologist named Ellen Brennan. We all conversed and got to know each other, but over time we still saw no Big Ben. It got to about dinner time and we all decided to go for a dinner in town together. When we returned, there was another car there waiting for us. Everyone got out. "Who are you?" Brennan asked. Our new friend got out of his car. He was slim and looked very young, almost like a kid. "Hey," he said. "Sorry I'm late, I'm Benny. It's good to see you're all here on time." He skipped over the gate and unlocked it. Everyone looked at each other suspicious. Benny opened the gate. "Please come in," he said in a cheerful tone. We all filed through the gate and Benny closed it behind us. He didn't lock it, and we made sure. But after he got inside, I swear I saw someone near the gate. God, is this a long one? I'm sorry. Whew. Oh my god. Please put more scouts. Put a sandwich down. I'm leaving now. Sorry, dude. Sorry, leaving, Spooks. What does this have to do with TF2? I like how you're saying this in front of a bunch of TF2 ragdolls. Thanks. Did my chat not load again? Yeah, those are some creepy noises. No, it loaded this time. We'll just finish this. We're getting there. We're past the halfway point. Alright. The interior of the house was just as beautiful as the exterior. The walls were covered with paintings, many of which were Freud himself. There was a water fountain in the middle of the entrance hall, and on either side were stairs that led to a small platform to which you could go right or left through separate doorways. In the middle of the stairway was a door to the dining area. Now, I'm guessing, since I'm so late, you are already ate dinner, our guide said. Oh yes, but I wouldn't mind another dinner, Kyle said. Well, the dining area is stocked for whatever you need to snack, Benny replied. He gave us all a short tour of the house before leading everyone separately to their rooms. The girls that came together got their first bedrooms at the top of the stairs just to the right. Then, along the hallway, there were bedrooms consecutively lined up along the wall. I was the last room in the hallway. My room was giant. There were statues and paintings all over the walls of all different animals and landscapes, with a big bed in the middle. So I was alright with that. After everyone got situated, we all hung in the parlor. Cal and Joanne went off to explore together, but the rest of us were cozy where we were. Brennan was asking a multitude of questions to Benny about all this, to which Benny replied very cheerfully, to the point where it was almost creepy. Benny to me just seemed kind of off. When it came time for sleeping, everyone went off to their rooms. We hadn't seen Kyle and Joanne since dinner, but no one was worried. Well, enjoy your stay, Benny said. You're leaving? Brennan said. Of course. I'm not a participant after all. If you're needing anything, call me. He skipped out of the door. Brennan stopped me, Brennan stopped me as we all headed to bed. Ethan, right? Yeah. Look, something about that Benny character is very suspicious to me. Most unorthodox. Keep your eyes open. I got it, I said. Even he was starting to creep me out. I went up to my room and tried to sleep. I woke up on my own free will after only an hour, and it was midnight. I was about to go back to sleep when I heard it. It was like a moan. Coming from the hallway. It was a woman. Her moaning was getting louder and louder. I'm not gonna repeat myself. Closer and closer to my room, coming down the hallway. I got out of bed and ran to the door and opened it. There was a light at the end of the dark hallway. There was a tall, slender woman in a green dress, walking the halls. I edged myself out of the door, little by little. Then she screamed, "Ah!" It was the loudest, most terrifying shriek. And then she looked at me. I sprinted back into my room and slammed the door behind me. Where the hell is everyone else, I thought. Didn't they hear the moans? There suddenly was a loud thump down the hallway. Then another. And then another. And then another. Getting closer and closer and closer to my door yet again. And then it stopped at my door. There was silence. I was hysterical at this point. I was frozen, standing in the middle of my room, holding my breath. But there came no more sounds. After a few minutes, I slowly opened the door, and there was nothing but darkness. No lights, no woman, just darkness. I'd already had enough of this place. 6,000 or not, I was getting the hell out of here. I grabbed my stuff and packed up. I turned my flashlight on and opened the door. I don't know where the light switch was, so the flashlight was most handy at this point. I first decided I better tell someone I'm leaving, so I knocked on the first door on the hallway next to my room. No one answered. I knocked again and still no answer. Well then, to hell with you. I began to walk out when I heard a shout. Ah! It came down from downstairs, in what seemed like a parlor. I was already beside myself in fear, so I ran down the stairs and ran for the doors when... Ethan! I nearly had a heart attack and screamed as I turned around to see Brennan. Are you alright? He asked. Jesus Christ, I said. Haven't you experienced any of this? What? The screams, the thumps, I mean, for fuck's sake, this place is scaring the shit out of me. Ethan, I think the creepy setting is getting your head on making you experience these illusions. No way! I'm getting the hell out of here! I raced the door. Brennan followed me. I sprinted across the small courtyard. It was dark. I couldn't see a thing, except for what I illuminated with the beam of my flashlight. I finally made it to the gate, but it was locked. Someone did lock it after all. Well, at this point, I was already scared out of my mind, so when I saw the gate was locked, I tried to open it the best I could. I wrestled the chain until Brennan caught up with me. Ethan! It's alright, it's... He suddenly noticed the gate was locked. That son of a bitch! He ran at the gate and smashed his body into it. He decided to try and see if he could break the chain by hitting the gate together with our shoulders. After a while, it still wouldn't budge. We got tired and decided to take a break for a while. So, I said, what the hell are we supposed to do? Well, he replied, catching his breath. Seemed to be in even worse shape than I was. I suppose we should tell the others and see if we can all come up with something to do. I have no cell phone reception out here, do you? My phone! Why didn't I think of it earlier? I pulled it out of my pocket and had a bar of reception. But in addition to that, I had 5 texts from Marcus, which went like this. 6:03 p.m. Hey Ethan, how's it going down there? 7:58 p.m. Ethan, you there? 8:17 p.m. Ethan, man, you're starting to scare me. Are you okay? 8:56 p.m. Look, man, please answer. I'm getting really worried about you. I think I'm going to have to go down there and do it. Did you take my knife? 9:21 p.m. That's it. I'm going down there to find you. Jesus, man, I'm worried. I'm getting into the car now. Please answer me, man. I was overcome with relief and I looked at Brennan. My brother, he's coming to get us. Suddenly, a woman screamed from the inside of the house. Ah! This time it sounded more like one of the pretty girls. We quickly raced back to the house. Brendan was calling, Kara! Kara! Where are you? We ran into the bedrooms and Ellie's door was wide open. The room was a mess, clothes everywhere. The window was wide open, letting a cool, chilling breeze inside. Kara was sitting in a corner, sobbing uncontrollably. Brendan went to her. He pulled her to her feet and she couldn't even look at him. What happened? He asked. Ellie, she tried to kill me. She continued crying even worse now. What? No. What? I cried. She just started banging on the walls and I came over to see what was wrong and she told me, get the hell away from me. He might come back and find you. I was losing my shit right about now. But Brendan was surprisingly calm. He lifted her chin. Where is she now? He asked. Kara pointed out the window. Brendan quickly walked over and I followed him. It didn't take long to find her. She was walking on the roofing, climbing up the tower. Oh man, I said. Brendan grabbed me by the shoulders. Look, he said. I have to get up there and get her down. You and Kara need to find Thomas and get others to find a way out of here. I'm counting on you, Ethan. I'll see you soon. He ran out of the room. Wait, I called, but he didn't even turn to me. Now I was alone in this giant fucking haunted house with a hysterically PTSD bound, out of control, sobbing girl. I looked over at her. She had curled into a fetal position just next to the bed. Suddenly, I heard a gunshot. But that was the thing on my mind at the time. And that was the last thing on my mind at the time. Hey, Kara? I started, she didn't notice me. I have to go find Thomas, Kyle, and Joanne. You stay here, okay? Now, I know what you're thinking. Why the hell did we split up? But you gotta understand, there was no way in hell I was going to be able to drag that screaming girl around this giant mansion, so I went downstairs and into the parlor. The giant painting of Freud caught my eye. There was something on it, but it was too dark to see. It was too dark to see anything in the room. I turned on my flashlight and I was horrified by what I saw next. Thomas was there, sitting in the chair with a shotgun in his hands. He had shot himself, just like old Freud did. His blood was covered near the painting. I screamed and dropped my flashlight. Then I panicked and returned into the gardens. I turned around to make sure Thomas wasn't following me. There was a shadow heading towards me, getting closer. I could see it in the light of my flashlight. I quickly swiveled around to try and run, but I tripped and fell into the fountain. But in the fountain, I wasn't alone. There seemed to be 3 of us, all swimming together, quickly climbed out to sea. Kyle and Joanna had been drowned into the fountain, and there was blood coming out of their mouths, contaminating the water. And worse, I was covered in it. Just then, I heard a woman scream, "Ah!" I looked up, and I could see a light in the tower. Ellie and Brennan were up there. I couldn't hear anything what they were saying, but she was backing away to the ledge. Brennan tried to persuade her to calm down, but then she screamed and grabbed him and threw him. She shrieked as he came down. He shrieked as he came down. I closed my eyes and curled up into a ball on the ground. Suddenly, I heard a sound. I slowly looked up. Brennan was on the fence. At least, half of him was. I started bowling worse than Kara. I couldn't handle it. I wanted to leave or die or just end this nightmare somehow. Suddenly, I felt as if someone was looking at me, watching me. I felt too scared to turn my head to look, but curiosity got the best of me. Slowly, I crept my head to the left towards the door. The girl in the green dress was back, only this time, I got a real look at her. She had black, dark holes where her eyes should be, and her bottom lip was cut down to her chin, exposing her mouth in one giant black hole. She was staring deep into me, with her dark, mysterious eye sockets. Suddenly, I saw 2 small figures to either side of her. Suddenly, one of the children pulled on his mother's dress. "Mommy," he said, "what are we doing in the gardens?" The green dress girl all of a sudden grew violent, like a flame had ignited her heart instantaneously. She grabbed the 2 children by the necks and picked them up. They screamed for help. "Mommy, what are you doing?" the boy cried. Then she started running towards me, yelling. I dove out of the way, only to notice she had ignored me and threw the kid into the fountain with Kyle and Joanne. They were bubbling, squirming, gasping for air. She had started humming a tune. That's when it occurred to me. Now I understand. Now I knew why Benny had brought us out here. He wanted us to reenact what happened to Elira and Freud. Kyle and Joanne were drowned the same way in the fountain that Mark and Mabel were. Thomas shot himself the same way that Freud did, and Ellie had thrown Brennan off the same ledge Elira had plunged down from. It all made sense now. I mustered the courage to get up. I began to back away towards the door of the house when suddenly I walked into someone. I quickly swiveled around to see Ellie smiling at me. "Where," she began, "is your brother, Ethan?" I was shocked. I hadn't told anyone here about Marcus, let alone the girl who had murdered Brennan. Suddenly, Ellie hit me. A square knock right to the mouth. I let out a quick oof, you know, like in Roblox, oof, and fell to the ground. My head was hazy. I could only open my eyes in bursts. Then they were both on me. Ellie and the green dress girl Elira. They were staring and smiling at me. They stared at each other, but I couldn't make out what they were saying, and Elira came down at me. She opened her mouth wide, as if she wanted to eat me. I panicked and suddenly came to my senses. That's when I realized I still had Marcus's knife. I launched it right into Elira's mouth. The opening was so wide, my arm fit in and stabbed the knife all the way through the back of her throat. She began to scream uncontrollably into my face. Ellie was screaming too. I quickly threw Elira off me and got up and sprinted. I ran to the edge of the gardens where the fence was. I knew they were chasing me, so I had to move. I jumped up and grabbed the top of the fence and used the strength I had to pull myself over. I hopped over the top and landed square on the other side of the fence and didn't look back. I started to sprint into the woods. I didn't know what was where now. I had left Kira there, but something told me that Ellie had gotten to her and there was nothing I could do. I couldn't see anything, but I kept running through the woods. Branches and sticks scratched away at my body, but it didn't matter to me. My heart felt as if I would explode soon. Finally, after what seemed like hours, I was out of the woods. I came out and I was in a ditch on the side of the driveway. There were no cars in my proximity, for I could see no light. I slowed my pace to a walk when I got to the road. I started going forward, not caring where I would end up. I remembered my phone and pulled it out. No service. Shit. I suddenly saw a car coming. I pranced for joy, wailing my arms around, yelling, "Stop!" The driver did so. The car seemed familiar, but I couldn't put my finger on it. I ran into the passenger side and opened the door, just to be horrified yet again. "Ethan, Jesus!" Benny said. "You," I said. He was smiling. "Are you alright, man?" he asked. "You!" I yelled as I lunged for him, finally stabbing over and over and over again. He had to die. He caused all of this. I was stabbing Benny, and that was the last thing I remember. I don't exactly know what happened over the next few hours, but my doctor told me I drove up to the nearest gas station in my brother's car, covered in blood and dirt, and fainted and walked in. They found the body of Marcus in the back of the car. I didn't know any of this could have happened. I swear I'm not crazy. That's why I'm here at St. Anna's Hospital for the mentally ill, but I'm telling you, I'm not insane. Dr. Jones told me that the email entitled Big Ben doesn't exist and there's no such thing as the Freud house, but I know there is. I know it is real, and there's all this still there, coming back to get me. I'm scared. Please help me. I'm not crazy. I swear. Oh boy, that was a long creepypasta. Holy shit. He did it. When will we play? In a second. Jesus Christ, that was a fucking long creepypasta. Amazing voice acting for the scream. Thank you. I tried what I could. Holy shit, this was like an hour long, wasn't it? Yeah, I read this whole creepypasta for almost a fucking hour. Oh, Jesus. My god. Well, I do hope that all of you enjoyed this. I actually kind of liked the last one, but I wanted to rush a bit through it, just so we could, you know, finish, since it wasn't really anything about TF2. TF2 was pretty much just mentioned in it once. I apologize about that. I'm not, I don't know the creepypasta sites that well, so I didn't know how to look for a new one. But yeah, that was pretty fun. I hope I'll do these type of creepypasta readings in the future too. Maybe you guys will join in. Maybe you'll subscribe for more. That'd be pretty great. And yeah, that'll be pretty much it. It'd be nice if all of you would join my Discord as well as my Twitter. They're all in the description below. It's you know, it'll be pretty nice. I'll post all the future stream projects in there, so you guys can keep being notified and all. Also, a subscribe and a bell click would be great. And for now, I gotta finish this stream, but if anyone's interested, join the Discord and we can play a bit on some Team Fortress 2. Just for anyone who decided to go through all of these creepypastas. I do hope that you guys got a bit of a scare. I do hope you had a pretty good Halloween. And I do hope I was able to add a bit to it. So, hope to see you all in the future. I will be uploading a video on the weekend. So, unfortunately, no long stream. But there will be streams in the future. So, yep. See you guys next time.